It's day 22 of our Advent Reflections, and I would like to share with you part 2 of a story I began just yesterday. I'm calling this The Christmas Boy, and the original title was Christmas Lost and Found by Shirley Barksdale. And so if you'd like to hear the first half, just click on yesterday's Advent Reflections for day 21. But this is day 22. And I'm going to begin where I left off. We settled into a small, boxy house, so different from the family home where we had orchestrated our lives. It was quiet, like the house of my childhood. Our other son had married and begun his own Christmas traditions in another state. Our daughter, an artist, seemed fulfilled by her career. While I stood staring the snow-capped mountains one day, I heard a car pull up, then impatient peal of the doorbell. And there stood our granddaughter, and in her gray-green eyes and impudent grin, I saw the reflection of our Christmas boy. Behind her, lugging a large pine tree, came her mother, stepfather, and 10-year-old half-brother. They swept past us in a flurry of laughter. They uncorked wine and toasted our homecoming. They decorated the tree and piled gaily wrapped packages under the boughs. "You'll recognize the ornaments," said my former daughter-in-law. They were his. "I saved them for you." When I murmured in remembered pain that we hadn't had a tree for 17 years, our cheeky granddaughter said, "Then it's time to shape up." They left in a whirl, shoving one another out the door, but not before asking us to join them the next morning for church and for dinner at their home. "Oh," I began, "we just can't." "You sure as heck can," ordered our granddaughter, as bossy as her father had been. "I'm singing the solo, and I want to see you there." We had long ago given up the poignant Christmas services, but now, under pressure, we sat rigid in the front pew, fighting back tears. Then it was solo time. Our granddaughter's magnificent soprano voice soared clear and true in perfect pitch. She sang "O Holy Night," which brought back bittersweet memories. In a rare emotional response, the congregation applauded in delight. How her father would have relished that moment. We had been alerted that there would be a whole mess of people for dinner, but 35? Assorted relatives filled every corner of the house. Small children, noisy and exuberant, seemed to bounce off the walls. I could not sort out who belonged to whom, but it didn't matter. They took us up and enfolded us in joyous camaraderie. We sang carols in loud off-key voices, saved only by that amazing soprano. Sometime after dinner, before the winter sunset, it occurred to me that a true family is not always one's own flesh and blood. It's a climate of the heart. Had it not been for our adopted son, we would not now be surrounded by caring strangers who would help us hear the music again. Later, our granddaughter asked us to come along with her. "I'll drive," she said. "There's a place I like to go." And she jumped behind the wheel of the car and, with confidence of a newly licensed driver, zoomed off toward the foothills. Alongside the headstone rested a small, heart-shaped rock, slightly cracked, painted by our artist daughter. On its weathered surface, she had written, "To my brother with love." Across the crest of the grave lay a holly, bright Christmas wreath. Our number 2 son, we learned, sent one every year. As we stood by the headstone in the chilly but somehow comforting silence, we were not prepared for our unpredictable granddaughter's next move. Once more that day, her voice, so like her father's, lifted in song, and the mountainside echoed the chorus, "Joy to the world." On and on into infinity. When the last pure note had faded, I felt for the first time since our son's death a sense of peace, of the positive continuity of life and renewed faith and hope. The real meaning of Christmas had been restored to us. Hallelujah. I'll see you tomorrow.